Hello and welcome to the Socially Ambitious Podcast. I'm your co-host Liv.
I'm your co-host Jess.
And I'm your co-host Anna.
On this show, we'll be delving into all things social media, delegation, and influencer marketing.
Join us for insightful conversations on mastering work-life balance, pursuing your passions, and crafting the life you've always dreamed of.
Get ready for actionable tips and empowering discussions.
Hi, this is Anna here today, aka Anna Thing But Animals. And today I want to talk about 7 points to building a community online. And the reason I want to talk about building a community over like building a following or how to go viral or anything like that is I feel like in today's day and age of where TikTok and Instagram are, building a community is so important, and having people interact with you or see your page as a community is so important. And while I think like going viral, building a following is amazing, it's not the goal. I do think building a community is, and I think your metrics, I think it's really easy to get kind of caught up in like vanity metrics of like virality, how many likes something has, how many views something has. Oh my God, my posts don't do as well as they did last week, or the algorithm, this and this. But I think your metrics can be a good indication of whether or not that's happening. Like, obviously, if people like your stuff, they will engage with it. But I don't think it's the only indication. And I also think that just because your metrics are good, like just because your views are good, just because you have a lot of likes or whatever, does not guarantee more sales, and it does not guarantee community. It really does not guarantee like that conversion. And I've learned so much over the past couple of years of starting, for context, I started my Instagram like more as an influencer, and then it grew into a vegan travel company. So now I do group trips. I just hosted my first event in New York this past weekend, and I was just on a call with some of the tour people I was working with for my next trip, which is Greece, and they said they have never seen a trip sell out this quickly in all their years in business. And I truly think that's all about like creating that community online, and definitely was not always like this. My trips did not always sell out this quickly. It was definitely a bit more of a struggle, a bit more of a leg up. I struggled a lot also with like finding like what people wanted. So I was doing some soul searching this past weekend, and I compiled 7 different ways that you can create community online, because it's not about sales strategy or engagement strategy or hacks or whatever. It's really about connecting and being in tune with your community enough to know what they want. Because again, it's not just selling to people, it's being able to create something and give people what they're actively looking for and want to see from you, and being connected enough to do that for them. So the first thing is that all of your content should be creating value. All of your content should be creating value to your target customer. It should not be like me content. It should not be like, look at what I did, look at what I'm doing, look at this fun day I had. All the language should be towards the person. It should all be about giving, serving. These are not like, oh, these are my 5 favorite restaurants in New York. It should be, if you're doing a birthday or a dinner and you're looking for good vegan spots in New York, here's where you should go. 10 restaurants you need to try when you're in New York. And this can be different ways. Like, it can be informational. It can be entertaining. Like, it doesn't need to be all factual and everything like that. Like, it can be simply entertaining. It can be, for example, my page is a vegan page. It can be like a funny joke about questions that we go through as vegans. It can be a funny thing for like, if you're like a health coach or something like that, like common things that your family says to you. It can be in different ways, but look at, and I think a lot of people really miss this, and they just think about, my posts aren't doing well, or no one's converting, but they're not looking at their content from their target audience's perspective and thinking like, Like literally look at your content, because in some ways you are your target audience, or you're like in tune with your target audience. Like, would I even like this? Like, would I even comment on this? Would I even share this? Like, is this actually valuable? Like, would I save this because it's so valuable? Or is this just like meh? Like, do I just think it's just like a picture of something I made or something I cooked? So that's number one. The second one is actually engage with your community. This is truly, I know it sounds like it goes without saying, but it is very true. And this isn't just about responding to DMs or responding to questions you get in the DMs or responding to comments. It's also about creating conversations. Like, are your videos creating conversations? Like, are you bringing up something maybe like controversial? Like, in the vegan community, like controversial, I don't think all vegan food needs to be healthy. Like, I think we can have fun junk food too. What do you think? Not just saying things that I think, but what do you think? Do you agree? Like, do you think that we should be promoting like unhealthy vegan products just because they're fun and enjoyable and people are vegan for different reasons? Or if you're like a health coach, like ask them, like start a fight in the comments, like ask them what they want. Ask on stories, like, what are your favorite things? Like, should I make this week? Like, should I meal prep this week? Are you a meal prepping person or not a meal prepping person? I'm trying to think of like other examples. If you're a fashion influencer, like, what do we think? Like, ask on what do you think about the dresses for spring? Can we wear white after Labor Day? If you talk about history, like ask, what are some more things you want to know about North Korea or whatever? What's a little known fact that you just learned today? Like actively speak to your community, engage with your community. Like, when is the last time you asked them a question? If I'm doing group trips, where do you guys want to go? Why? What are the most important things to you about traveling? Ask question boxes. Let them ask you questions. Like actively have a conversation with them. Remember the questions they ask, take that to heart, and then integrate that into your content. This is really, really important. And then even in terms of this, like, I mean, this kind of is a bit of a, I guess sales strategy or like marketing strategy, but I really like to kind of, I don't want to say like make people think a lot of things are their idea, but they are their idea, I guess. But for example, like I did an event in New York this past weekend, and it was basically, we always knew from the beginning that we had to rent the space out for the whole day. And we were going to do a dinner. It was going to be like a 5-course tasting menu. And we were like, you know what? That'll be fun. We don't have time to do 2 dinners. It's going to be really long. So let's add a free happy hour during the day. But we were like, we want to focus on selling the dinner first, because we were like, that's like a full, more expensive ticketed event. And then the other one is free. So we wanted to do it last minute anyway. But even though we already planned that, we had even kind of started to say after the dinner, like, oh, you guys are asking for a free event. Like, you guys are saying, you wanted to go to the dinner, but it was too expensive and now it's already sold out. So we're trying to figure out what to do. Like, do you guys want a free day event? And even though we had kind of like already planned it, but we knew people were gonna like it. It wasn't like a total lie, but to actively engage with them about the offers that you're building too. Like if someone is like, oh, this is too expensive, it's not just like, oh, shoot, like, oh, fine, nobody can afford my offers. Like, oh, should I do a monthly subscription? Like, should I do plans? Like, ask them actively of like, for the people who this offer was out of their budget, what do you guys want? What's in your budget? What do you want to see from me? What are some things that we can create together? And engage with them and like almost let them come up with the offer. Like the people will tell you what they want. I even had said, like, when I was doing, one time I did like a day in the life at this town in New Jersey, and I went to a bunch of different places in one day, and I was like, should I make I did a day in the life video of like everything I ate in a day. And then I asked, like, should I make videos about each of these places individually, like to get people engaged? And like, obviously, I already kind of knew that I was going to make videos about all those places individually, but like ask them, like, so that they also know, like, yeah, I did ask her for these videos, so I'm going to watch them, you know? Okay. Number 3 is to build a personal brand, not just a business. People are not going to connect with the cookies that you make or the bagels that you make or the t-shirts that you sell the way that they will connect with you and your values. And for one, I recommend you being in the videos if you are a business owner selling online. I do think your face should be recognizable. I'm not saying that a brand can't be successful without that. I don't agree with that, and I've seen that, but you gotta be in it. That's my opinion. If not, I don't know, go somewhere else for something. But I do think you should be in as much of the things as possible. I do think you should integrate your personality into it. I do not have a separate account for myself and my business. I mean, for SOAM, we do, it's all of us, but for my group trips that I have, I will talk about things like who should pay on the first date on like fully on my TikTok that I sell the group trips from. I'm very open about, you know, my political beliefs and social issues and things like that. And not to say that you have to be, you can definitely keep some things offline for sure. You know, I don't share a lot about like my friends and my family and really my personal life, but I do think that sharing about yourself helps people connect with you a lot. And for example, even this event that I did in New York, I had people fly in from all different areas. Like I had multiple people book flights to go there. And I don't think that would be the case if I just talked about the product and didn't share about myself. And I also think that the people then who end up coming on my trips or if you're a coach or something that comes into your group programs will be as aligned with one another, because I think a reason people are so aligned and become such good friends through my trips and through my programs is because there's something within me that they connected with. So they also have that within them. And then they have those things in common and they connect with one another. And it also, when you're so clear about your personal brand and who you are, it also helps your target customer be immediately recognizable in public. Like I've had people say that someone came up to them on a flight when they ordered a vegan meal and say like, "Oh, I follow this girl on Instagram who does vegan group trips. Like you should go on one of the vegan group trips. Like if you're vegan and you like to travel, you know." Sharing and being so open about who you are, what you do and why you do it. Even like I talk about issues kind of plaguing the travel community in terms of like a lot of companies in tourism are foreign owned, like a lot of hotels are foreign owned. Like we want to shop local whenever possible. And that helps people really connect with those values and understand and know that I'm going to plan a really good trip that's very much in alignment with them. Number 4 is do not be afraid to create controversy online. I see a lot of people who have funny ideas, they have opinions, and they don't want to talk about them because they don't want people to shy away from it or whatever. But I think in a space like social media where there is so much competition and so many people, that people are looking for like their person. Like people are looking for like if you're like my cousin, for example, is like her, I'll just use kind of her as an example. It's like she's a health coach who is very like anti-diet culture, anti like restriction, anti-weight loss. Like when people are looking for a health coach, like they are looking for something specific like that. Like some people are looking for like the drill sergeant who's going to tell you like you have to lose 15.5 pounds. Some people are looking for something totally different. And to share those things about you brings like the right people. Um, and like a lot of people freak out and they get hate comments, but like you should like purposefully be creating controversy on the internet, in my opinion. Like a little bit. Like don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything mean. But I'm trying to think of a good example. Like I'll say things like, I don't think all vegan food has to be healthy. Like not everybody's vegan for the same reason. I will say, again, I'll be open about my political beliefs in the way that I feel like they relate to travel and tourism. And some people get hate comments. They start freaking out. Like you should be getting hate comments. Like if you are creating community, if you are being open about who you are, if you are talking about your opinions, like you will be getting hate comments. Like if you don't get hate comments, you're not doing enough to share about yourself and share your personal brand. You just have to create some or whether it's like, controversial opinion. Like I think coaches who do XYZ are unethical. Like whatever it is, like don't be afraid to actually create controversy on the internet. Again, don't be mean, don't be racist, don't be like, it's not about that. It's about creating conversation. It's about setting yourself apart from other people in the market and sharing about who you are and what makes your business and your offers special. Number 5 on how to create community online is share your process, not just the finished product. Share your process. Share like funny things that happen along the way. Even we did this event in New York and I was sharing every single bit about it. We did an event. There was like 500 people during the day event. And then we did a tasting menu for 66 people. And I was sharing like the chefs are cooking right now. Like this is them prepping. We're bottling olive oil for you guys to sell retail. Oh, I'm working on the tote bag design because we want to sell these tote bags at the event. Like, and people were like, oh my God. People were showing up at the event being like, oh my God, we loved watching you guys. Like, are you okay? Like I would post like what time we went to sleep. Like I would post like what time we woke up. Like I would post like our full day to day life. And people loved it. And people loved to see behind the scenes. Like they'd be like, this is how I prep my recipes for everything. That now we're testing for some new options for the restaurant. Where, should we past that? Where we tested a couple different things. Should we put this on the menu? Like, would you eat this? Like, if you came into our restaurant, would you order this? Like, if you're, a restaurant, ask them and share your process around it. Involve people in it. They want to be part of it. And then this kind of ties number 6. This kind of ties into things that I talked about before, but share how you approach your niche differently. What do you disagree with about other people in your industry? Why did you go into this? If there's already people, I'm sure there's already a restaurant in your neighborhood. There's another business coach in your neighborhood, not neighborhood, but on the internet. Why did you feel you wanted to do this? Like, what was the hole in the market that you wanted to? Did you feel like, yeah, there were other bakeries, but they all use shortcuts. There are other health coaches, but they just talk about, restrictive dieting and weight loss and things that are negative around food or not eating delicious food. There are other business coaches, but they don't focus on, building something from the heart, building something you really care about. It's all just about making money and funnels. It's not just about creating something that you want to do. Or are there other business coaches, but they all talk about working 60, 70, 80 hours a week and not having any time for yourself? What makes you different in this and why? That also will allow people to connect with you on a much deeper level. Even in mine, I've done multiple videos that are like things I would never do on my group trips that I see people doing all the time. Like people host group trips to places they've never been. They've never scouted. They don't do their own trips. They work with companies that aren't locally owned and things like that. Share that. Lastly, number 7 is give people a reason in every piece of content that you do to come back. Come back, if you did a day in the life, should I do videos about each of these places individually? Like, give them a reason to come back. If you're on a trip, doing day in the lives on the trip, say tomorrow I'm visiting a coffee farm. Tomorrow I'm heading to Mexico. Like, come back for that. Be mindful of like next weekend we're gonna do another event. Like, make sure to get on email for the next event. Make sure you have a call to action to help people come back. That's it for today. And as for my call to action, if you have any questions, slide into my DMs, Anything But Animals, and let me know if you want to hear more of this and if this makes sense. And if you try any of these tips, let me know how they go.